Let's see if we can get this tank swung back without taking the fairings off. I'm going to try to show you what we're up against here. So there are two bolts right here, 1 and 2, that hold the tank down, and we have to take those two out. That's no big deal with just an Allen key. But then we have to swing the tank back, and as you can see, the fairing is pressed into, well, maybe you can't see, maybe right there. The fairing is stuck into the tank with these little grommets, rubber bushings on the tank and a little pin on the fairing. And you got to get those out in order to swing the tank back. Typically, you take the entire fairing off, which we may still have to do. However, I've had some luck in the past without doing that, so let's see if we can do it. What I found in the past is if I loosen or remove this bolt here from the fairing, it gives us enough play in the entire fairing to be able to pull these back away from the tank, and enough for us to swing the tank back. It's possible that we will need to also remove this bolt here, and the same for the other side. In fact, the other side also has a bolt just like this. Remove it from here so that this bolt goes through the upper cowl and through the fairing in a tab that goes up here. And we may have to remove that in order to give it a little bit of wiggle room. We'll see. If it's not going to go easily, then we may have to remove the entire fairing, so that's a possibility too. But let's try it this way first. Just want to make a point here. The shop manual does call for removal of the fairings. Period. Hard stop. Should you do it? Yes, you should. That's what the manual says. Must you do it is kind of what I'm wrestling with. Because to take them off is not the end of the world, but it's another, hour of your life, or to take them off and put them all back on, that maybe you don't have to spend. So that's what we're going to do a little experiment with. Again, on the 2012, I was able to do it without a problem. Let's see if we can do it here. It's a 5mm hex head. These are not torqued in very tight at all. In fact, you never want to torque them real tight because it'll just crack the, you may not see a crack, but it can stress fracture the fairing, and that's it for the fairing. The next bit of work before we can swing the tank back is we got to remove the seat. So that means we have to remove the rear seat. That's unlocked with a key. And that just pulls off. Next, there are two bolts up here with hex head screws. They look like they might be a 5mm. They are not. They look like they're a 6. They are 6. With the two bolts out, simply lift up on the back and your seat's off. Let's talk about how to get ready to swing the tank back. So in order to do that, we had to, 1, take off the rear seat and the rider's seat. 2, we had to loosen the two bolts up front that pinned the tank down. 3, we had to loosen up the fairing and pull it away from the tank and those grommets so that we can actually rotate the tank on the hinge. Now, when we're about to rotate, a couple things. 1, either you have a buddy or some way to prop the tank up and not have it fall back down, because you want to work under there. I use a bungee. I'll show you how to do that. You could use a stick. You could use a 2x4, whatever works for you. But as you rotate the tank, you're going to see a number of hoses. We have a hose here. And there's going to be, I believe it's an overflow hose heading down, and the supply lines from the tank to the intakes is also there. So you want to make sure that none of that gets tangled up, none of it gets pinched, none of them come off. So be really careful as you rotate it back, rotate it slowly, and guide those hoses as you do it. If you want to get a better look inside there, you can see all the hoses we're talking about here. We've got one down here that you could see before we took the tank back. We've got this one, I believe that's your overflow from the filler neck, and that's the supply right there. So you want to make sure there's no stress on these things. We're going to have to make sure we guide them back down correctly when we put the tank back. There's my rig for holding the tank back up. It's just a bungee in one of those grommets, I guess, that holds the tank to the fairing, and bungee to the rear grip and rear seat grip, and that's it. Holds it right up. All right, so this is the airbox, and that has to, we have to take the top off. In order to do that, there are a whole bunch of screws all along the perimeter, a couple in the back, and one right down in the center hole. Take all those screws out, don't lose any. A magnetic screwdriver would be really helpful right about now. When you pull those screws off, the top cover comes off, the airbox, the air cleaner will be inside. One thing we'll also need to do is, as we take these two screws out of the top of the cover, there's this bracket right here. This bracket holds some it's just a holder for some wiring harnesses. We'll have to lift that straight up. That comes straight up, and we could probably do it right now, but let me get the top off first. Lift straight up and we move it out of the way. That's all there is to that. I like to use a parts bin to let magnetic, so all the screws stay where I want them and not where they want to go. Now I'm going to go ahead and pop this. There we go. It's loose, so now I can get this bracket off. Now we'll take this off, and careful, there is a screw in there. There we go. So here's our air cleaner element. It just pops straight out. And it's pretty dirty. So it's a good time to clean it. I can see there's some gunk in there, and bugs and bees and all sorts of stuff that I'll get out. So these are the air intakes. Right inside of those, the throttle body, so anything that drops down there can go right into the motor, so you don't want to do that. So let's just take a rag and cover those up so we don't get dust, debris, screws, etc. down inside, especially while we try to clean this out. What would be good to use here is a little shop vac or something. which I don't have. So what I'm going to try to do is use the air compressor to just blow that out. Hence, it's really important that these are covered up because there's going to be dust flying all over the place. You want to make sure that you get all the grit out of, there's a lip right here. This side of it is supposedly clean air, so you want to make sure you get all the grit out of this side for sure. This is the dirty side, so the air comes up through the filter and then into the intake. So this is the clean side, so we want to make sure everything is clean in here and nothing's getting blown into our intakes. Okay, looks pretty good. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the air filter replacement that we're putting in. We are using a K&N air filter. This is basically the last filter you'll probably ever need in your bike. It is warranted for, I think it's 10 years, as long as the bike is not used off-road. So dual sport, racing, and dirt bikes, 1-year warranty. Street bikes, this one, it's a 10-year warranty. So there comes a little warranty card. Keep that around. It's good, literally 10 years. So this is, just make sure, that is the KA-1111. That is a direct replacement for our old filter. It comes wrapped like this. And I'm going to leave it wrapped for the moment because you can see this little redness here, all this. That is oil. The way these work is the filter material is oiled, and there's a special filter oil that from K&N that you use. And that's what traps all of the goodness that you don't want in your engine. So next time I change my air filter, what I'll really do is take this out and clean it. The way you clean it is you use the K&N products. There's a cleaner you spray on, you let it soak, you wash it out with warm water, you let the air filter completely dry, and then you spray it, and it comes with either spray or a like a pour or like a bottle. I use their aerosol. Oil, and you oil the filter up again, and you let that soak in until it's all set. Wipe away any excess, you just drop the filter back in, you're good to go. So this one to install is super simple. We just simply take it out of its package, drop it in. Let's do it. So something to note about the filter, there is a right side up, right side down. The downside, the side that goes down, has a lip on it here, you can see, and that lip fits into this groove, this groove. In the box. Also, you can tell because the upside has the logo, has the K&N logo and the Made in USA, and that's all facing you. You should be able to read it. It even has the part number right at the top as well. So that just drops in just like that. That's it. Now we just need to button it back up and do everything in reverse. Put the airbox back on, get the clamp back on, drop the tank, route the hoses down nice and gently. You may need to go down below and I'll show you. Might need to go down below and find your overflow and pull on it so it straightens out as you go. And that's it. That's all there is to it. So let's just go ahead and do that, and we'll finish this thing up. When you do this, it's great to have your tank like really empty of gas. You know, not completely empty, but low on gas. Mine isn't. Mine's like, it's a 5.1 gallon tank, and I've probably got 4 gallons in it, and so it's pretty heavy to swing back, and that's not the greatest thing to do. I mean, it's not a problem, as you can see, but it just makes things easier if you have it with less gas in it. So there's that. Do not over torque these screws. There's just plastic. They're just held in, just hand tight. Don't go crazy. Also, I like to put them in a star pattern, you know, crisscrossing the box so I get it nice and level as it goes down. Those are just snug down. There is a torque spec to that, and I could look it up, but it's just hand tight. So there we are. Oil change, filter change, air filter change. Periodic maintenance, simple to do, takes you all about an hour to get it all done. So feel confident, give it a shot yourself. Let me know if you have any questions, leave some comments. As always, please give us a like if you like this stuff, subscribe if you already haven't, and let us know what else you'd like to see done. Coming up, I think we'll be doing a little fork oil change. That's due, so we'll be taking a look at that at some point. And as always, ride safe, keep wrenching. Cheers.